from some of you are calling in from all over the world. And so I am so thrilled to see you all. My name is Maria Nemeth. I am the director of the Academy for Coaching Excellence. And on behalf of everyone here, all the staff and all the coaches from the Academy for Coaching Excellence, I just bid you welcome, welcome, welcome. So thrilled that you decided to come here and hear what I have to say, hear what we have to give you today, because today we're going to give you something that I ask that you be willing to practice. Okay? If you're here just to gain some good insight into something, you'll like this webinar, but it's not going to make that big of a difference in your life. However, if you're here because you want to learn how to create trust, then you've come to the right place, because we're going to give you a tool that you can use, which, when you use it, will reliably create trust. Is that pretty good? Now, one of the things that's great in this webinar, since we can't hear from all of you because we have hundreds of people that are coming in right now, but if I say to you, does this sound pretty good? You can always do what we call sparkle fingers. This goes just like this. It means, you know, we hear what you're saying and it sounds pretty good to us. So I'd love to get that kind of feedback from you. And for those of you who are not yet on camera, it would be wonderful to be able to see your face. I see a lot of you have joined but have not opened your camera. And if you can open your camera, it would be wonderful. So welcome, welcome. And we're going to start right now. I'm going to put some slides on the board, and then I'm going to come back and talk with you directly. So the name of this webinar is The Green Lens, Creating an Environment of Trust. Now, let's look at the purpose. The purpose is to give you a way to consistently create an environment of trust, compassion, and empowerment in your interactions with people. You're going to learn how to demonstrate to others, whether you know them personally or professionally, that they can trust you. And I'm going to define for you what trust is in just a moment. You're going to see how to put other people at ease quickly so that their natural creativity and intelligence come forth. And finally, you're going to create an environment in which people see that you are there to partner with them and that they can rely upon you. Now, we have some learning objectives. And for those of you who have taken webinars from me in the past, you know that we always start off with what are some learning objectives? What can you expect from this course? Well, the first thing is that in this session, you're going to learn a paradigm or a model that demonstrates the way in which focusing your attention changes the way your brain gathers relevant information. And that'll make a lot more sense to you in just a couple of moments. Then you're going to discover how changing the way your brain collects information shifts how you behave. Finally, you'll see how to focus your attention, and believe me, you have the power. You have the power to focus your attention wherever you want your brain to focus. So you're going to see how to focus your attention upon certain viewing points or conclusions that create a climate of trust no matter what is occurring in your environment. The bottom line is this: you have the power to create a climate of trust no matter what's going on around you. Now, I'm going to ask Josh, who is one of our trainers and one of our leaders at the Academy, if you would go over the basic logistics here.
I'm happy to. And welcome, everybody. Glad you're joining us. So at the end of this session, we would love your feedback on how this was for you. And so we're going to send out a short feedback form. And as a thank you, if you take a few minutes to fill that out for us and let us know what you liked, what would have made it even better, we're going to send you a separate file with all the slides that we're using in this presentation today for your own personal use so that you can review it at a later time. And throughout this training, there will be an opportunity for you to share at various points. And if you'd like to do that, you can use the Zoom raise hand feature. If you have any questions about how to find that, feel free to shoot me a direct message on Zoom and I can help guide you in that direction. Last thing I'll say is we will also be using breakout rooms a little later on in this presentation. So you have a chance to talk with each other about what you're getting out of this in a very particular way. And so we'll show you exactly how to use that when we get there.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh. So let's look for a moment at what is trust. Now, we went to dictionaries and we surveyed a bunch of them, and this is the one that we think talks about what we're learning here today. It's from the Collins Dictionary. If you trust in someone or something, you believe strongly in them and do not doubt their powers or their good intentions. So you can take this down for a moment. So reflect for your own self right now. What is trust for you? How would you define trust? Now, if you have a notebook or something that you can write with, I suggest that you write down your personal private definition of trust. Does it sound like the definition I just gave you? Mm-hmm. Or would you add something yourself? And if you would, just jot it down, because we're going to see as we go through this, how your definition of trust really, I would say for the most part, is going to map directly onto what we're doing here. But basically, when I look at trust, for me, it's to be in the presence of someone who, just in their presence, I can relax. I can see that all is well, no matter what we're going through. I don't have to put up any defenses. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I can just trust. And what is it for you? Now, anyone who wants to, raise their hand, Josh, call on you and just give me your bottom line definition of what trust might be for you. Any courageous souls would like to just raise your hand and let me know. All right. Did you show them how to do the raised hand feature?
Yep, we've got 3 folks already with their hands
All
up,
right,
and
please.
some folks sharing in the chat as well here. Sayana, please go for it.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Hi. To me, is if I feel they have a good intention to me in their behavior.
Good. Thank you.
But can I say one more thing?
Of course.
When you talk, I kind of feel I have some trust issue, or at least until now.
Okay. Well, it might be after this, you might have less of a trust issue. Let's see. Okay, let's just see. Thank you. Who's next?
Marianne.
Please, Marianne.
Hi, everyone. Good to be here. I think I'm kind of echoing what Maria said, but authenticity. When I know that I don't have to sacrifice my authenticity to be with someone and share this space with someone, that to me is trust.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Authenticity. I can just be myself. And they are being themselves. They're not hiding anything. Who's next?
To share a couple of things folks are writing in the chat as well. Victoria says, my guard is down. And Sabina says, feeling completely safe with myself and others.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. I love it. So
And
let's hear from,
Vesna.
yeah, let's hear from 2 more people and we'll go on.
Perfect. Vesna, please. Come off mute, Vesna.
Hi,
Thanks.
everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Maria, everybody. Great to be here with you all. So trust for me, it's about sharing. It's about being down to earth, just feeling grounded with someone. Transparency, love, safety in this silent dialogue. That is for me trust.
I love it. Thank you. Perfect. And one more.
Truth. Go for it.
Yeah, trust means to me is putting the best construction on every event and seeing the best intentions.
Ah, I love it. I love it. When you said that, my heart just warmed up hearing you. Yes. So, and so we look at the question, why build trust? Let's look at our next slide here. You know, people who are successful, they know how to create relationships based upon trust. And they have developed the ability to see the best in others. Now, doesn't this kind of echo what we're talking about right now, what people have been sharing? They have developed the ability to see the best in others and to communicate what they are seeing. So it's not just about seeing it, but what do I say? Or how am I being, even in my body language? Now, we're going to introduce something to you. It's about how our brains work to create what we experience, because we must look at this in order to see how to work with our brains to create the experience of trust. Now, this model has 4 boxes in it. It's something I developed about 30 years ago. And so I called it very creatively, I called it the 4-box model. I know this is incredibly creative. It's part of my genius. But anyway, 4-box model. And this is how it looks. 4 boxes. And you see these boxes are shaped in a kind of a loop, because this is a loop. It's something that goes on and on and on, whether we know it or not. So in our first box, we put the word conclusion. Now, you might ask, what do we mean by a conclusion? And you can take the slide down for a moment. A conclusion is a mental model, a way for our brain to create its experience of what's going on. Our brain needs to know what's happening. When we were living in caves, and incidentally, recent research shows that our brain has not changed significantly in 100,000 years. Isn't that something? Our brain has not significantly changed in 100,000 years. And so you might ask, well, what kept us alive 100,000 years ago? Well, one of the things was, you know, we didn't have fangs, we didn't have fur, we couldn't run very far, but we did have a brain that could try to figure out what's going on, to try to make sense of our surroundings. I mean, put yourself in a picture for a moment. Have you ever had the experience of utter confusion, even for 2 or 3 minutes, where you couldn't figure out where you were or what to do or what was going to happen next? I know for me, It happened about 30 years ago as I was skiing in Park City, Utah, and I was skiing on this beautiful snow. It was just gorgeous. I think they called it popcorn snow in those days, except all of a sudden there was a whiteout. Now, in a whiteout, you can't see anything. It's snow, and I think a mixture of snow and fog. I couldn't see my hands. I couldn't see my feet. I didn't know whether to keep going down the slope where I might run into a boulder or a tree, or to stay there, in which case someone might run into me. It was awful. It lasted about 2 minutes, but I swear to you, it felt like 2 hours. And during that time, my brain was in a panic. Absolute. And then it cleared and I knew what to do. But have you ever had that moment where things were absolutely confusing and you didn't know what to do next? Can I have sparkle fingers if some of you have ever experienced that? I want to remember, this is a way of saying, you know, we're kind of on the same page here. Great, good. So our brain needs to make sense of its surroundings. That's one of the things that kept us alive. Now, if any of you want to read more about the brain, you could read, what is the name of that book? One of, he wrote the book Blink.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Thank you. Josh is always so good at that. So Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called Blink, and he talks about this, how our brain creates conclusions about everything, whether we know it or not. Now, the next thing that happens is this. The minute you focus on a conclusion, your brain begins to act like a Google search engine to collect evidence to prove that your brain is correct. Now, why do I keep saying your brain rather than you? Well, I'd like us to make a distinction right now, and you can take this off the board. Consider the possibility that you are not your brain. You have a brain. You have 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and a brain. You are not your brain. Consider for a moment that you are that which has the power to shape your brain. Now, science is proving this all the time. We have the power to shape our brains by determining what we want our brains to focus upon. And so in this 4-box model, what we're simply saying is that whatever conclusions you are entertaining in the moment, your brain will give you ample evidence to prove you're correct. For example, let's say that I'm sitting with my girlfriend, Mary, and we're in the coffee room at work. And I say to Mary, Mary, my new boss, Sylvia, my supervisor. Well, I have to tell you, I think she really is not on my side at all. She's micromanaging me, and she comes in and asks me questions all the time. She's been there for 3 months, but I think she just really wants to control me. Now, Mary doesn't see it quite that way, because she sees that Sylvia's only been there a couple months. And she says, well, Maria, are you sure she's micromanaging you? Maybe she just wants to find out from you what's happening. Now, what's the next thing I'm going to do with Mary? I'm going to give her my evidence, yes? Well, this and this and this and this leads me. Now, what if Mary still says, well, Maria, I see what you're talking about, but I don't think that's, micromanaging. I think she's just interested in you. What am I going to do? I'm going to give her more evidence, yes? Now, let's be authentic here. Let's be authentic. Some of us have something called CRS. That means can't remember stuff. And for that, you know, we tend to, when we want to win an argument, we tend to engage in a little bit of MSU, that's making stuff up. Anything because we want to be right. I mean, you've experienced that, right? That whatever conclusion you're focusing upon, your brain wants to be right. Well, the third box is my behavior. Now, I tell you, how I behave is controlled by the evidence that I'm seeing. For example, in the moment that I am talking about Sylvia to my friend Mary, and I have all this evidence about her. You can take the board down for a second. I want to ask you something. If I'm present to that evidence, folks, as I'm talking to Mary, am I likely to look very inviting? Am I going to be looking very happy? Would you want to be around me? Would you want to come and say, oh, hi, you know, glad to see you, Maria? No, because as I'm talking about my evidence about Sylvia, my face reflects my evidence. Now let's just say box number 4. Interesting. Put that up on the screen. Let's say that we're sitting in the, once again, I'm talking to Mary, and we're sitting there in the coffee room, and Sylvia walks in because she wants to ask me a question, because she sees me as being really, really intelligent, and she needs to get some feedback about a process. So she sees me. I take one look at her. Do I look like I'm inviting her to speak to me? No. Do I look happy to see her? Absolutely not. So she says to herself, you know, I think Maria's having a little difficult time today. I don't know really what it is, but I think I'll ask her this important question later. And she turns around and she leaves because how I behave affected how she behaves. And what do I say to my friend Mary? I say, see, I told you. She was about to micromanage me again. She couldn't do it because you were here with me. So she left. So her behavior further strengthens my conclusion. And folks, it goes around and around and around and around. Now, this is the bottom line about the 4-box model. Creating trust, okay? Not the bad stuff that I'm saying about Sylvia, the opposite stuff. Creating trust is not so much about about what we do or say. It's not so much about what we do or say. Instead, it's about how we see others based upon the evidence we're collecting about them as we interact with them. I'll say it again. Creating trust is not so much about what we do or say. It's not in your behavior. It's in what is affecting your behavior. It's about how we see the person based upon the evidence we're collecting about them as we interact with them. Take the board down. Because you see, I could pretend to like Sylvia. I could try to give her the benefit of the doubt. But as long as I'm holding the conclusion that she's a micromanager, how long is that going to last? Seriously, folks, is it going to last very long? Here I am, trying to be nice, trying to be sweet, but I really think she's a micromanager. Do you think she's going to see through it? Absolutely. She's going to probably say, what's wrong here? Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's look at something else then. If that's true, what about creating trust? What has this got to do with creating trust? Well, conclusions are like lenses. A colored lens filters out everything but that color. In the case of Sylvia, I wasn't looking at all the times she wanted to help me or made friendly gestures toward me. I'm just looking for how she's being a micromanager. But what if we turn the tables? What if we turn things around here? What if we picked some conclusions, which when we pick them, shift my behavior because I'm gathering different evidence? Might there be an antidote to all the things that I've been gathering about Sylvia? And think about the people in your life that you have gathered evidence for. Let's just be real here. Let's just be authentic about this. So, over the years, I created a way to have sustainable trust built upon the lenses that you are going to train your brain to focus upon. Take the board down for a second. It's about how you focus your brain and where you focus it. Remember, I said earlier that you have the power to focus your brain. You really do. And so I'm going to show you where to focus it, which when you focus and when you practice this, you're automatically going to be creating a context of trust. So, are you interested in seeing those conclusions? Okay, I'll show them to you. You've been good. It's called the green lens. The green lens was derived from analyze. I analyze the mindset of people who naturally create the context of trust. I didn't look at how they behaved because I tried to behave like people who were inspired. I tried to behave like they behaved, okay? It doesn't work. You can't copy another person's behavior because if you're holding other kinds of conclusions, those conclusions are going to take over, not the behavior you want. What you have to do is shift the conclusions, And so I started looking at people who are inspiring. And instead of asking, what are they doing? I started asking, where were they focused? Where were they focused such that their behavior automatically was a certain way? Now, I've delivered this to thousands of managers and teachers and coaches, literally around the world, from India to Turkey to Israel to the UK to Sweden and Finland and all over the US and Canada. I mean, I've had the Jamaica, I've had the privilege of teaching this to people around the world, and it works. It's currently being used by leaders in multinational corporations, as well as by military leaders in both the United Kingdom and Sweden. So what I'm about to show you is not something I created last week. This is something that's been around for a long time. Here it is. The first thing for us to look at is here's you or me. Here's another person. And here's a lens that we're seeing them through. The first conclusion is this: This person is a hero, whole and complete, meaning they are on a hero's journey. They really, truly are. Now, I got that from the works of Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero with a Thousand Faces. You know, Joseph Campbell was a very important mentor for George Lucas. He said at one point, he said, you know, if Joe Campbell hadn't been mentoring me, Star Wars would never have gotten off the drawing board. That's how powerful a mentor Joseph Campbell was. The second, this person has goals and dreams and a desire to make a difference. I got that from Mother Teresa. You know, her whole ministry in Calcutta was about showing people, at least in the last moments before they passed away, and these were the untouchables. She would hold them and let them know that they were making such a difference in her life. The third, this person has their own answers. Well, I looked at teachers who were very, very successful. And I don't know if you've seen Jaime Escalante in the film Stand and Deliver. If you haven't seen Stand and Deliver, I suggest that your homework, I'm a coach, so I love to give homework. Your homework is to see Stand and Deliver with Jaime Escalante, who plays this teacher that has such faith in his students that he turns them into these highly competitive math geniuses. It's the only way to put it. The next, because he saw that they had their own answers, you know. The next, this person is contributing to me right now. I got that from Nelson Mandela. You know, one of the things about Nelson Mandela that was so powerful is that he didn't focus on himself. He focused on the difference other people were making for him. As a matter of fact, he did that so successfully that they had to shift, that they had to take away his guards. They had to shift to new guards every 3 months because the guards that were guarding him started to like him so much. They had to take away those guards. You know, he focused on how other people contributed to him. And I tell you, if you'd like to, you could see the movie Invincible, which is about Nelson Mandela.
Is that Invictus? Is that what
Oh,
you're thinking of?
Invictus. I'm sorry, Invictus. Thank you. Invincible is another one. Invictus. Thank heavens for Josh, incidentally, folks. You know, I don't know what I'd do if he weren't here with me, guiding me along. Anyway, this person is deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. This person deserves to be treated with dignity. Who did I see? The Dalai Lama. You know, because for the Dalai Lama, everyone has a Buddha nature. And you see him always bowing to other people. So this is the green lens. We're going to give you a way to access it on your iPhone or your Android in just a moment, because I want you to take it with you. But first, we're going to put you into small groups for about 5 or 6 minutes. And this is the question we're going to ask you to talk with your buddies about. You may not know these people, you probably won't, that we're putting you into groups with, but please, given the 4-box model and the green lens, how would you expect the person you're viewing through the green lens to experience you? Given the 4-box model, how would you expect the person you're viewing through the green lens to experience you? Okay, you'll be in small groups and we're going to have about 6 minutes to discuss. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I know we probably didn't give you enough time to really talk about this, but wanted to give you just a little taste of looking at it and integrating it in some way. So let's hear from some of you. What do you see? And please raise your hand and just some bottom lines. We're waiting.
Monica, I see your hand up there.
Monica, please.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Good morning or time of day, wherever you are. I just would feel that the person would see me as being loving and accepting, and maybe they would admire my sense of grounded and confidence and want to reflect that back and feel supported, and feel able to express themselves truly, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. You're right on. That's exactly what it's meant for. Who else, please?
Charlotte.
Well, Maria, I think these are incredibly exciting tools. If I actually could do this with every person I interacted with, it would create such a feeling of trust and love that you couldn't help but have a wonderful relationship. So the thing that you said was so interesting, that if you can really focus on these things, it will change how my mind functions, and it will change how things interact. And so if I can really incorporate this, Maria, it would be fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, you are absolutely welcome, and you are tracking exactly what happens when. So listen, everyone. You are in danger of something here, which is you're in danger of changing your brain. If it's okay with you to change your brain, if it's okay with you to change your brain, because as you focus on the green lens and gather evidence, and we suggest, incidentally, that you use it with people. Go easy on yourself. This is like an aerobic activity. Don't try this with people that you're having real trouble with right now. Okay.
Right.
Try this out with people who, friends, family, whatever, and see how it works. And then you can step it up to maybe the next level. Consider this like an aerobic activity. Okay. Because we want you to have success experiences all along the way. Is that clear? So start small. Who's next?
Lisa Wilson.
Thanks. Hi, Maria. So we had a couple of thoughts in our group. I couldn't do the how would they experience me as much as I thought instead I went, okay, how did I feel when I was around people that viewed me this way? And I've had some great coaches and I've had some wonderful managers. And it went back to all of what we were talking about earlier, was that I could totally be authentic. I could run forward. I'm a very driven person, so I could like run forward with my drive, knowing I could make mistakes and knowing that they would hold me up when I made my mistakes. So it was, it felt really good to be in their presence. It was wonderful working for them and wonderful to be around them. So I would imagine then the opposite would be true if I treated people with that lens as well.
You got it. You can incorporate what you see in them. You can incorporate it by practicing the green lens.
Yeah. And someone, Susan, brought up in our group too, that it was a bit like doing, I'm going to say this wrong, but ho'oponopono.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, exactly. It's very heart work. And yes, this is very, very true. Who's next?
Carolina.
I'd just like to say that I really agree with everybody else so far. And so just to add another point of view that I was seeing and observing was that it sort of feels like when you're in the green lens in that sort of space, you can access a place where you're not expecting any sort of behavior from the other end. And so you can let go of those expectations, and you just kind of are in there in that space with them, which actually could therefore potentially create the energy that you're putting out into this.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. You all are coming up with such great reflections. I really appreciate this. Who else? I want to get a couple more.
Roberto. Come on, mute, Roberto.
Good. Just unmuted. Here, I'm an organizational psychologist, community organizer, and for years, I always tried to move co-powerment. How do we lift the power of others? And so I love the green lens as an organizing tool, because essentially in organizing, you want to see the best in others, and you provided such a simple tool to enable us to actually see more the best in others, and with that, then create the situation where we can lift each other's power up. Because ultimately, we need to create 1 billion miracles to save Mother Earth. We need more people trusting each other and lifting each other. So thank you so much for this tool.
Oh, listen, this is, thank you so much, sir, for the work you're doing. And please, everyone, just really, as I said at the beginning of our time together, you really have to practice this stuff.
Yeah.
You really do. You know, you're going to begin to notice different things because your brain is gathering different evidence. Now, let me show you something. We want to give you a gift, how to use this, and we've created a way to have you have the green lens show up as an app. It's really a landing page, but it's as an app on the screen of your phone. And here's how to do it. And you may want to take this down, okay? Write down the instructions. Go to acecoachtraining.com/green on your iPhone using the native web browser, either Safari on iPhones, Chrome, or Android, or on Android. Safari on iPhones, Chrome on Android. Follow the prompt to add the page to your home screen. There will be a prompt, and it's here. It says to add this web app to the home page, home screen, and it shows you what to press, and then add. And it's there. It shows up as the green lens, and the little icon for the app will be this green, this G, the green G, and it's yours. Take it with you wherever you go. You know, we've literally had miracles with people using the green lens, and I want to give you really a definition of miracles that we use. But first, before I do, are there any other prompts you want to give them, Josh, about this green lens app?
I'm just going to put the link in the chat here. Anyone who wants to open it up. You're also welcome to bookmark this on your computer. You can access this from any web browser. And if you have any questions about how to get this on your phone, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar.
Yeah, because I really want you to take it, because we're going to offer you something called a 2-week challenge. So let's look at this.
Maria,
Hmm?
this is Kathy James.
Hello.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to share my experience using this model from your teaching.
Please.
When you were going to give the definition of miracle, I hopefully it aligns with my experience in that I've been using your tool now for 2 years, and it has revolutionized my life. It brought me to the place to first see myself, how I showed up, and then I could better understand why people were responding the way they were. So now when I walk into any situation, I take my green lens with me. And I've had miracles happen in my life because I've allowed myself to just show up authentically without judgment and just let the situation be and allow other people to show up as they are. So I want to personally thank you for this tool that has changed my life.
Oh my gosh. Thank you Dr. Kathy, thank you so much.
Yes.
Really, I so appreciate this.
I
And
so
let me
appreciate you.
Oh, honey, thanks. Just have to pause for a minute. And let me give you the definition of miracles. It comes from Willa Cather, who was an author in the early 20th century. She wrote in Death Comes for the Archbishop, which is a very short book. I read it about once every 2 years or so. It's so great. Death Comes for the Archbishop. She wrote, miracles rest not so much upon healing power coming suddenly near us from afar, but upon our perceptions being made finer, so that for the moment our eyes can see and our ears can hear what has been there around us always. Miracles rest not so much upon healing power coming suddenly near us from afar, but upon our perceptions being made finer, so that for the moment our eyes can see and our ears can hear what has been there around us always. And Josh, if you'd like, you're sending things out to people as a result of being in here. I was going to say in this course, because it is a course that I'm giving you right now. You might want to attach Willa Cather's definition of miracles, please, because it really is about training your brain. Huh?
I just put it in the chat for folks so they can get it there.
Yeah, because it really is about training your brain so that your eyes see and then your ears will hear what has been there around you always in terms of people's efficacy, what they do have, what is working in them, and really creating empowerment or co-powerment, as someone was saying. Was it Robert or Berta was saying? So, 2-week challenge. Look at the green lens at least twice a day for the next 2 weeks. Especially take the green lens with you and look at it prior to important interactions, whether it be personal or professional. Notice whether or not your interactions with colleagues and team members become more productive with more ease. In doing this, you are creating the context of trust. You might find this context is present whether or not the other person is looking through the green lens at you. It may be irrelevant whether or not they're seeing you through the green lens. We are going to send you a short survey in about 2 weeks to check in and see how it went, because we really want you to use this. I figure if 1 million people on this planet are using the green lens, it might just make a dent in how things are turning out here. Now, if you want to study further with us, if you're interested in deepening your empowerment skills, you can learn more about our courses at acecoachtraining.com. And if you go there, you can also see me doing a TEDx talk entitled, Would It Be Okay With You If Life Got Easier? And, we'd love your feedback. Your feedback supports us to make our future trainings even more relevant to you. So you'll see the link in the chat. And as a thank you, if you fill out the feedback form in the next 24 hours, we're going to send you all of the slides from this training. So you're going to have the recording anyway, but we're sending you a special separate PDF package so that you can refer to the slides. And, we just want to thank you for participating in this seminar. Please please use the tools you've been given in order to create more compassion, more trust, and ease during difficult times. So get back to the, I can see everybody, please. So this has been, I hope this has been powerful for you. You know, this is really heart work. This is work that has been developed over years and years and years. And you might see that even as you look at the 5 points of the green lens. You know, you're gathering evidence for different conclusions. And your brain, as I said, your brain will change. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now. Mwah.